Everybody says they want love. They want loyalty, peace, consistency, someone to build with, someone to come home to. They want something real. But if we're being honest, a lot of people are in love with the idea of a relationship more than they know how to actually be in one. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why dating feels so frustrating right now. It's not always that there are no good men or women left. Sometimes the issue is that people want connection, but don't actually have the tools to sustain it. Because wanting love and being prepared for love are two completely different things. I think a lot of people want a relationship. I think a lot of people love what a relationship gives them. They want someone to talk to every day, someone to comfort them, someone to be loyal, someone to support them, someone to share life with. But things start to shift when the relationship begins to require something from them. Because now it's not about just what you receive, it's about what you contribute. It's actually about how you show up when things are tough. It's about how you communicate when you're upset, how you handle conflict, how you take accountability, and how consistent you are when life becomes stressful. That's where a lot of people struggle because a relationship sounds beautiful until it requires patience, compromise, emotional maturity, emotional regulation, and self awareness. And a lot of people were never taught those things. So, what ends up happening is people want the benefits of partnership, but still move with an independent mindset. And you can build something stable with that. There are a lot of people that genuinely want love, but the way they move still says, I only answer to myself. And this applies to both women and men. You can't say you want trust, closeness, and emotional safety while still moving in ways that avoid accountability. You can't expect someone to feel secure with you if you disappear when things get uncomfortable, avoid hard conversations, or protect your ego instead of protecting the relationship. Being in a relationship doesn't mean losing yourself. Well, it shouldn't mean losing yourself, but it does mean that your choices affect another person now. And a lot of people are not ready for that responsibility. They want connection, but they don't want the structure that comes with it. They want love, but they still want to operate like they're completely on their own. And that disconnect creates instability. I also think we have to be honest about something else. A lot of people were never shown what healthy love actually looks like. They didn't grow up seeing calm communication, emotional safety, or healthy conflict resolution. What they saw instead may have been chaos, inconsistency, avoidance, or people staying together but being unhappy. So now they're adults trying to build something they were never taught how to maintain. And that matters because sometimes what feels normal to you isn't healthy. It's just familiar. And familiarity can be very misleading. That's why some people feel uncomfortable in stable relationships. And when something feels unfamiliar, it can sometimes be mistaken for boredom. That's why some people call peace boring. That's why some people feel uncomfortable in stable relationships. It's not because something is wrong, but because it's different from what they're used to. Peace can feel unfamiliar to someone who is used to chaos. And when something feels unfamiliar, it can sometimes be mistaken for boredom. That's where a lot of people lose something good without even realizing it. A lot of people know how to get into relationships, but don't know how to sustain them. They know how to create chemistry, how to connect, how to make someone feel wanted in the beginning. You know, that honeymoon phase. But maintaining a relationship requires deeper. Attraction can bring two people together, but it's not what keeps them together. What actually sustains a relationship is consistency, emotional maturity, accountability, and the ability to navigate conflict in a healthy way. I know there is a common theme going on in this episode. I'm repeating the same words because it is important to know that in order for a relationship to sustain anything, you must be accountable. You must have emotional regulation. And you really have to be consistent. You cannot talk to your partner today and then disappear next week. Because if your end goal is marriage, you will end up living with that person. So you have to learn how to communicate effectively. And an issue is a lot of people are choosing how they feel in the moment, not based on whether the person has the capacity to build something long term. That's why people end up hurt, because someone can really like you and still not know how to love you properly. Being chosen is not the same as being cared for in a healthy, consistent way. Yes, absolutely. Attraction is important. But we also have to look outside of those looks, because looks fade after a while. Character may not. So we can lead with attraction, but follow through and see if this person is actually right for you. I really believe that a lot of relationships don't fall apart because love disappeared. They fall apart because accountability never showed up. Because accountability requires you to put your ego to the side. It requires you to listen, to reflect, to take responsibility, and to actually make change. And that's hard for a lot of people. It's easier to deflect, to get defensive, or to shift the blame than it is to say, I hurt you and I need to do better. But when accountability is missing, problems don't get resolved. They build up. And over time, those unresolved issues turn into resentment, distance, and eventually disconnection. And then people say, we just grew apart. Did you really? Sometimes you didn't grow apart. Sometimes things were never repaired. One thing I realized is that love is not only a feeling, it's discipline. It's knowing how to manage your emotions, how to communicate without trying to hurt someone, how to pause before reacting, and how to handle conflict without trying to win or punish. So let me just dissect that a little. What do I mean when I say how to manage your emotions? Well, one prime example. You had a terrible day at work. I mean, terrible. Staff is not listening. They're not doing what needs to be done. And then you have your boss coming at you. It's not your partner's fault that these things happened. So instead of deflecting and putting all that anger and frustration on your partner, we must be emotionally regulated. How do we communicate without trying to hurt someone? Well, your partner's a gamer. Me, for example. And instead of insulting them and calling them a bum, like, why are you playing on the game? How about we communicate and say, you know what, babe? When you have a chance, can we just spend some time together? How do we pause before react? So one law of physics is every action causes a reaction, but we choose how we react, right? So you're upset about something. Before you go lashing out, take a moment, think about what you're going to say, and communicate it effectively. And we handle conflict without trying to say, you know what, you did so and so, so you know what, I'm going to refrain from showing you affection. That's punishing your partner. Doesn't solve anything. Just because you feel something doesn't mean that your reaction is justified. We must learn how to control our emotions. That's a hard truth. Your feelings can be valid, but your behavior can still cause damage. Healthy relationships require emotional discipline, and a lot of people want the closeness of love without developing the discipline that protects it. I think one of the most important questions that people don't ask themselves is, am I the kind of partner I am asking for? It's easy to have a list of what you want. It's easy to say you want someone who is loyal, honest, emotionally mature, and consistent. But are you showing up that way too? Because wanting a good partner also means becoming one. And I think a lot of people are dating from desire, not readiness. They know what they want to receive, but they haven't fully developed what it takes to sustain a healthy relationship. And that's where a lot of the disconnect happens. I don't think the dating pool is just full of bad people. At least I don't want to think that way. I think it is full of people that want love, who crave connection, and who genuinely desire partnership. But many of them are not fully prepared. They did not do the work on themselves. So they don't know what healthy love actually requires. So the conversation can't just be about finding the right person. It also has to be about becoming the right partner. Because wanting love is easy. Being ready for it is something completely different. And I want to know what you think. Do you feel like most people are ready for a relationship? Or do you think people want love more than they know how to handle it? If this conversation resonated with you, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you know somebody who needs to hear this, send this episode to them. Because, baby girl, a lot of people want love, but not enough people know how to keep it. It's your girl, the Tea List Queen. I hope you loved this episode. See you soon. Mwah.